Now, if you're a fan of the channel, that's an issue for you and your therapist, but you've probably gathered by now from watching all the videos I've done, all 20, that yeah, I like video games a bit. Fuck, okay, ignore that, never happened, alright. I mean, I always have done, ever since watching my dad play the first Resident Evil on PS1. Looking back, that's probably why I'm the way I am now.
What do you mean?
But sorry to get off track. My true love for video games came from my love for Spider-Man. As a kid, I was obsessed with the real best Spider-Man cartoon.
Get back here, Shocker! Shocker!
Fight me. Spider-Man 90s was my obsession. Spider-Man was my obsession. I had the lunch boxes, the pillows, and a duvet set. I had the towels, toys, posters, cartoons, quotes, even those like the weird little like stringy web shooter things that shot out like confetti or something. I don't know. But the big obsession was Spider-Man on the PS1. It might not look as pretty as it did when I was a kid, but for real, man, this was it. I could actually be Spider-Man. Alright, it takes a while to get used to it.
I mean, it was a good experience at the time.
Well, without further ado, let's get into this thrilling video. So let's just start from the beginning and just go from there. Now, before everyone goes off at me, I know that the game came out on other consoles, but it was originally designed for the PS1, and every other version of the game was just a weaker copy of it. IGN described the Dreamcast version as good fun for anyone with a Dreamcast that hasn't played the PlayStation version. So, like, yeah, there you go, innit? I can't say, I got a lisp. I'll just say it as a side thing. I can't say S's, man. Alright? The game was created by a company that, quite like me when I'm around college, Neversoft. A staple of the early 2000s was a company that just made some pretty sick games, man. If you're a fan of Tony Hawk. Spider-Man was in number 2, so if that pushes you to buy it, there you go. But eventually a company did get gobbled up by Infinity Ward. I don't think it was even for a good card, like one of the crap ones like Ghost or something. But to be fair, for a company that made Tony Hawk games, they did a wicked job here. And trust me by that, they let you know that they made Tony Hawk games. To be fair, they did pull out an absolute whopper here. Honestly, the game is class, kind of. Now, as a kid, I remember thinking this game was absolutely amazing. Some of my best memories of being a kid is of playing this game. Now, I hadn't touched the game in years, but I replayed it all for this video, and if I'm honest, it hasn't really aged amazingly at all. Granted, to be fair, we have been spoiled by Insomniac's masterpiece in both Spider-Man and Miles Morales, but Spider-Man 2000, although very good, does have some issues with the controls. Like, you can do this sort of web ball thing, like a Hadouken, which you literally need to do at certain points, but I just couldn't do it. Like, I just kept accidentally webbing people, which, to be honest, webbing people in this is pretty useless. It's kind of funny at the start to web someone up, but that's about it. Some of the really strong enemies, this literally has no effect on. Some parts of the game are just crazy hard. Like, it's a short game, but I probably spent over an hour trying to get through certain parts of this game. Like any great Spider-Man game, this features some really cool unlockable costumes, which include backstories and also some unlockable comic book covers, featuring its own little encyclopedia that predates Arkham Asylum by nearly 10 years. The maddest thing about that, there was less than 10 years between this and Arkham Asylum. But in that time, in-game encyclopedias have changed a lot. Here's an example of one from Arkham Asylum.
Harleen Quinzel.
Don't be a stinker. I'll be stinking this place up soon enough. I'm the worst of the worst.
Now enough of the boring stuff. Let's get into this. Now the story starts in what is quite a ways into Peter's career as Spider-Man. A lot has happened. I wouldn't say that you need to have like a mental knowledge of the character to understand what is going on. I mean, it is Spider-Man. Everyone knows Mary Jane's his bird. Everyone knows his villains. But yeah, as a side note, I genuinely thought this was like a follow-up to the cartoon, especially since some of the cast returned. I thought, oh yeah, here's a happy ending for Peter and Mary Jane. It's not. It's fucking not. Do this video, but on the off chance that you're a Marvel exec watching this, let Spider-Man be happy. Doc Ock is a good guy now, but clearly not. Peter Parker's taking photos at the Science Expo when, wait, is that Spider-Man?
Who dares? Face me, coward. Face a worthy foe. Spider-Man?
Last time I checked, I was Spider-Man.
Then the best character in the whole game shows up, Venom.
I tried to fight it. Can't fight him anymore.
There's a whole generation of old men like myself who adore Venom, and I genuinely think this game is a prime reason. Venom sees himself as a hero, like a lethal protector. Weirdly, Carnage is portrayed here as like a playful idiot and not the crazy lunatic he actually is. Now I guess that the game was made for kids, it's very light-hearted, and they couldn't go full-blown absolute carnage. But I kind of wish they could, man. Doc Ock releases like this toxic chemical that fogs all of New York City, so it's not safe to walk the streets. Now, the reason they did this was because technically the PS1 probably couldn't process like the streets. It could only do buildings or like small rooms. So it's a cool way of building these limitations into the story. We're on to our first level, and Stanley himself gives us an amazing narration. I simply love the man. There's no joke here. I just love him, he's a legend.
Welcome, true believers and newcomers alike. Spider-Man co-creator Stan Lee here. Once again, we find our hero Peter Parker, better known around the world as the amazing Spider-Man, in a heap of trouble. But this is just the beginning, Spidey fans. So get ready for a true superhero action thriller, packed to the brim with thrills and chills, twists and turns, more supervillains than you can shake a web at, and of course, non-stop web-slinging, wall-crawling action.
Hey, Spider.
Hey, Black Cat, what's going on?
I know there's been some trouble, but the bank's being robbed, and they've got hostages. Use your Spidey compass to get to the bank quickly.
Thanks, Cat.
One thing I do really miss about old video games is how characters would just say some stupid shit like, "Hey Spider-Man, the building's on fire, press the X button to jump over the flames and put them out." Like, you don't get that anymore. It's just like, go here, oh here's some text, what if I can't read? We're then introduced to our first enemy of the game, Phil Mitchell. He's fucking killed him. Then came my first death. Should have listened to Black Cat really. This is when I realised a big issue I have with this game. When you die, you get sent back to the start of the mission. Now I'm not slaying it. I mean, this was back in the day, and we have been spoiled by modern game design. So in retrospect, this is poor, but it was probably the norm for the time. However, the game does include checkpoints. You can get them later on, but it's so weirdly used. There's like 3 levels that use them, and some of the harder levels later on don't have any checkpoints. So you can fuck up over one little mistake on a level that you spend ages on and have to do the entire thing from the beginning. So that's not my issue. My issue is that it's just not consistent. Why have checkpoints in some places but not in another? It's not bad here, it's the first level, and to be fair, I should have done better. But it just made me realise what kind of experience we were in for. Right then, after a bit of faffing about, we get to the bank. It's being held up by a group of criminals called the Jade Syndicate. We also get a first save slot. Now in a bank, you have hostages, you know, Spider-Man, easy stuff. It's a pretty easy level until he's just fucking murked him.
I hit a jackal and it died.
To be fair, these guys take very little to beat, but fuck me. It's like no joke how quickly they'll just kill these hostages if you don't take even a second to stop them. Like, take this bit here. I got stuck in the doorway, and because of that, he got fucking killed. 2 seconds. Finally make it to the end, and what do you know it? There's a bomb.
They're messing with us. Start the timer on the bomb and take out all the hostages.
So with 2 minutes to stop the bomb, we managed to beat this completely competent crew of criminals. Pick up the bomb and very slowly take it to a conveniently placed vault. Where the bomb conveniently explodes, when we're safely away of course. Yeah, I'm Spider-Man. Seems like a good place to end part 1 on. I haven't wrote a script for this bit, so do forgive me if I'm a bit originally this was going to be a very long, like half-hour long video. So yeah, I've just thought to be easy on myself and to really cheaply and sneakily split this into like 3 uploads, so I look like I've done more. So yeah, less effort, more content. You know, if that's not our slogan here at the Captain Ribena channel. Honestly, if you've stayed this long, which I know I say it a lot, but fucking hell, I'm surprised that people stay for a minute. So if you have, honestly, thank you. And if you're not my mom, please consider subscribing. So yeah, I mean, it means a lot, and it just takes like 5 seconds. But then of course, obviously, you'd be subscribed to me, and you don't really want that. So you don't want people to think you watch Captain Ribena. I don't even like Captain Ribena, and I am him, sort of. So yeah, have a wicked day, everyone. Hopefully the next one won't be another 6-month wait. Love you all. Bye. Mwah.